Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chain Gang Sports Show.
Let's go down to Tom and Brent.
Welcome to the Hard Rock Stadium, and thanks to the Flagler Voice for creating this show.
What's up, my brother?
Hey, good morning, man.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
What a weekend, huh?
What a great weekend, man.
Started out Friday. Friday was, what a weekend. Friday, right after the show, I started looking at different things with the college game coming up, Indiana and Oregon. Thought it was going to be the battle that we had earlier in the season. Turned out to be a whooping.
Oh, my God. You know, I knew Indiana was peaking right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any question now. No question whatsoever. They are the most dominant team this year by far.
But I do think because of Miami's defense, although that third level being hurt the way they were, I was thinking if Miami can get healthy because of the week extra few days off, there's a chance because their defense is strong and they are deep, that they can make it a game still. I hope they do. I don't want a national championship blowout, but talk about near perfection. Mendoza, 17-20.
Yeah.
177, 5 TDs.
Yeah, unbelievable. Wow. You know, just an interesting stat. In the 2 playoff games he's played this year, he has more touchdowns, 8, than he has interceptions. He has more touchdowns than he has incompletions.
That's incredible.
That's insane.
That is insane. I didn't know that. That's insane. That's man. I mean, I just when we talked about last week them being the 70th ranked team as far as talent pool goes, based by the the rankings of the powers of the 5 stars. That's incredible. I mean, Cignetti, it's all we keep on saying now is Cignetti. It's the, when Saban says it's the best coaching job he's ever seen, that's coming from high up.
Yeah, who used to coach under Saban at Alabama about a decade ago. But yeah, absolutely. Miami has about 45, 46, 4 or 5 star recruits on that team. Indiana has 8 total. That's unbelievable. What a great coaching job Cignetti's doing right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying they're kind of giving off vibes of the 2019 LSU Tigers with Joe Burrow, Jefferson, and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And
don't forget Randy Moss's kid.
Randy Moss's kid too, playing
at tight end.
But what's funny is LSU outscored opponents by about 370 that year. They're outscoring their opponents this year by more than 100 points than the 2019 LSU championship team, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. And again, with defensively, there's no guy that sticks out. They do it by committee. They do it with all 11 doing their job, as Belichick always screams. They had the kid, the sophomore defensive lineman Nduke. He had 2 sacks, 6 tackles. I mean, and he's only a sophomore. Out of Georgia, he's a beast, and Indiana's deep for they're built for the long term too. They're going to be again. They'll be there again in the next couple of years. He keeps recruiting.
Yeah, the thing that it really impressed me with Indiana is just they're hitting on defense. They're ferocious. They do not let up. And when they smell blood in the water, they there's no letting up, man.
No.
And the difference, if you look at the stats, third down efficiency, Oregon was 8 for 13. The total yards 378. They had 16 more yards than Indiana. Indiana had a total of 362, but. Man, I'll tell you what, the 3 turnovers, you can't turn the ball over against a team like Indiana.
No, can't turn the ball over. We all know that the game of turnovers is a big part of the results. My dad and I had this argument, not argument, but all the time we're discussing who the Jets should pick. How do the Jets get any kind of time on this show is beyond me. But, the number 2 pick, Mendoza's going to go 1.
Yeah.
But everybody's now talking about Dante Moore going 2.
Yeah, that's a tough argument. If Ty Simpson would have had a little bit better showing, against Indy, but it is Indiana. But,
yeah.
I mean,
you got to go with size. I'm a size guy when it comes to the quarterback position. I mean, even though Bryce Young's having moderate success, he's a little guy, man. He gets tossed around. He looks like a rag doll.
Yeah, he does. And
high school kid, like you said.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's funny. Kyler Murray, the quarterback that came out of Oklahoma.
Got to go to baseball.
Yeah, I think it's showing. They drafted him. I think he was like 5'9" and 7/8. So he's not even quite 5'10". And that old cliche, you got to be tall enough to look over the offensive line. I think that's kind of true. There's a reason.
Drew Brees was one of those guys that was freakish. But everybody likes the running quarterback. Zach Wilson is a perfect example. Jets took. Of course, the Jets took him. He was brutal. He was brutal. But anyway, that's enough of college. Let's go on to the NFL. I mean, it started out Rams. I thought the Rams were going to whoop up on Carolina. Carolina showed up.
Yeah.
They did. They showed up. And it took last minute heroics from Matthew MVP Stafford, in my opinion. Still, I think he wins that MVP.
I do too. I think just all in all, I mean, he's got a couple things going for him. The case that he's got going for him is, people kind of tend to want to give it to somebody who hasn't won it before, longevity. He's been in the league all those years, all those 5,000-yard seasons with Detroit. He's playing on those horrible teams. He does have a Super Bowl, but that one, piece of hardware he doesn't have is the MVP.
And I think if it's going to come down to him and Drake May, I think they have to look at the body of work. I think you have to look at strength of schedule. And I don't think, like I said, I mean, even in the playoffs against the Chargers, which we'll talk about in a little while, but the Patriots, Drake May had an okay game. But, I mean, Stafford, I was surprised that the Rams defense gave up that many. But Bryce Young looked decent. I mean, T-Mac had, 80 yards. I mean, but if you go back to the Rams side of the ball, Nakua had over 100. Devontae Adams had 85. They got it done when it counted most.
Yeah, and you know what? The Rams, I was a little surprised that the Rams gave up 31 points. And, you can't ask anything more from the Carolina. A lot of people, had, the Rams winning this game big.
I did. You were the only one that actually said that you didn't think the double digits was good for the playoffs and that Carolina was going to show up, and they did.
I just hate that many points in the playoffs just because, points are premium in the playoffs. But, the Rams better not, they better not let their next opponent score 31 points because
that's not going to happen all the time, right?
Yeah, because you just, I mean, that's kind of, but I still think the Rams are one of the most best, balanced teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
Offense, defense,
Hey, Kyron Williams, he didn't have over 100 yards, but together, him and Corum, the running game had over 100 yards, and they both had, 20 plus receiving yards. I mean, they are balanced on the offensive side. Higbee's a great tight end. They actually have a backup tight end that, that does some things for them, and the Rams are legit. They just have to play a little bit, tighten up on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and also, Carolina did make the Rams, have to go down with less than 2 minutes left and go up, So the Rams were losing this game 27-31 with a minute left in the fourth. So,
I know.
Big shout out to Carolina.
Yeah. And, we were talking last night that NFC West having 3 teams of the 4.
That's amazing.
That's impressive because that'll take us on to the San Francisco-Philadelphia game. San Francisco, solid. Losing Kittle with that. Just my heart broke when I saw when you could see now when these athletes, because we've seen so many of them now, when that Achilles goes, you see the leg pop. You see it pop. And once they grab down there, it's gone because they know right away what just happened. And that was a tough loss for them because I think that takes them down just a step. I mean, they still had a good game. Purdy was solid. McCaffrey only had 50 yards rushing, but he gets 40 yards receiving. So he's, and, they're getting it done from other players on the offensive side. Guys have stepped up. Defense played really well. But I think Philadelphia, kind of gave it to them. Philadelphia had decent numbers. The defense did okay. You know what I mean? They did enough to keep you in a game. But offensively, there was some kind of disconnect.
Yeah, and I can't help but just look at Philadelphia and I'm not taking anything away from Jalen Hurts. Great quarterback, MVP Super Bowl last year. But man, that offense has got to go through Saquon. And I know they did have 110 yards on the ground rushing. But something just doesn't look right last year. That defense is legit, I mean, 23 points, you would probably take that any day, against San Francisco. You'd say, what, our defense is going to give up 23. We just got to score 24 or more. You would think that Philly would be able to do that. But, man, A.J. Brown, I don't know what it is with A.J. Brown. I seen him drop, multiple passes yesterday. And him and the coach, Sirianni, it seems like they just butt heads. They don't coexist. Something's not right.
And you know what? You're so right because I got to tell you, I'm a culture guy. I'm a guy about, I don't know if you ever watch Brady and the Blues. It's about Brady buying the soccer club over in England.
I heard it was a great show.
It's a great show because if you now, just like that show with Jordan, you get to see what he was all about and what his peers all think about him and playing with him. And he's ferocious. He's a ferocious competitor. And that culture is so important in an NFL locker room. And I believe A.J. Brown brings down the culture of the Eagles. I really do. Even when he has a good game and they win, he's still salty about something. And I don't understand that. Even if he has a good game and they throw the ball to him.
You're right. He's I hate to say it, but he's one of those,
me guys.
Yeah, me prima donnas. My dad would always say,
yeah,
it's a prima
my dad.
donna.
That's so funny. My dad too.
He would rather have a 150-yard receiving game, in my opinion, and look good himself than the team go on and win and him catch one ball for 11 yards. In my opinion, it seems like that. There's a few wide receivers in the league like that. They would rather get.
How about Puka Nacua? You never hear a word from Puka Nacua, but he just goes out and does it every week.
And he looks that whether or not he makes a big play, but he blocks on the end. It's the little things that and you're absolutely right. It's the culture. Certain players bring, not only do they bring their talents with them, but they bring like a certain aspect, an
edge.
An edge.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Yeah, even Devontae Adams. I love the fact that Devontae Adams has accepted the fact that he's now the number 2 guy. Most guys can't handle that. They can't handle that they're now number 2. And, just like Beckham, I mean, everybody hated him, and he was bad culture when he was the prime guy. When he realized he was now the secondary guy, he embraced that role and went out and had some success. You can't always be a number 1. Age comes in, talent comes in, Cooper Kupp. I mean, he was the guy. And next thing you know, here comes Nacua, and, Cooper Kupp was expendable.
It's funny. A couple years ago when Cooper Kupp got traded, a lot of people were saying, what are they doing? Well, now we see what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Puka Nacua is having one of the greatest receiving years in NFL history, man. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And it seems like now he catches contested balls. He catches one-handed
there's
balls.
No such thing as a 50-50 ball. He's going up and getting it. He's a 75-20 ball.
And like you guys, I know you love that yak stat, man. Yeah. Yards after catch, and unbelievable. Like every time he catches the ball, it seems like he busts like a tackle or two.
Oh, yeah. He had 14 yards rushing, and he had a rushing TD and a passing TD. And a receiving TD. So going back to that one. But all right, so the next game, is the Bears-Packers. What a game. That was a game.
Wow, like Caleb Williams. Is there any doubters anymore?
7 fourth quarter comebacks to win games. 7.
Unbelievable.
7.
You know what? I feel like they just, Chicago has caught lightning in a bottle right now, and they got Ben Johnson over there he was the Detroit offense coordinator from 2022 to 2024. He leaves. Detroit had the number 1 offense 3 years in a row. Jared Goff, they were talking about Jared Goff MVP. They never talked about Jared Goff before that in MVP. He went to, he had
I agree. Ben Johnson, and if you watch, we're talking about just a few minutes ago with A.J. Brown, we talk about culture. He brought a culture. He brings a calming of the storm. He is the guy. Like Caleb Williams, the way he carries himself, he gets mad. He'll light you up if you do the wrong route. He's slamming stuff, but that's what gets him going, keeps him motivated. He stays on point. And they are a driven team, and they realize that they're never out of it. That's what their thought is going in every game. Fourth quarter, down 20 points or 17 points, never even wavered. They just came out and did things methodically, and they go out and they took care of business.
Yeah, the big takeaway for me was the Green Bay Packers. How streaky they are when they're playing good. Jordan Love looks like a top 3-4 quarterback in the NFL when he's on, but man.
I mean, they had a lot of injuries this year.
They did.
You gotta give them, but I got to tell you, when Jordan Love came into this game, coming off of the concussion, I was like, they call him Jordan Big Game, Jordan Big Game Love, and he is. When that guy had. I mean, they just had. It was like he would go out and score, and then Bears would come back and score again. And, he was going out and doing his job. Their defense was not there. Yeah. Green Bay at the end, you give up that many points at the end of a game in the fourth quarter. You can't blame the offense on that. I mean, he put them out and up, and the defense just couldn't do anything.
At one point, I looked at that game, Packers-Bears games. I was watching 21-3, and I think it was going into the fourth quarter, and I think everyone thought, this game, Packers are going to move on. And man, Chicago. I mean, big shout out to the Bears, man. What a comeback, man. And the thing is, this is not a one-off. Like you just said, this is the 7th time that this is happening. So this is starting to become it's almost like this is the way they do it now.
Yeah.
This is how they roll.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's right. You better be able to play 4 quarters against them. That's 60 minutes of football. Otherwise, you're doomed.
or you better have a 35-point lead.
That's very true. But okay, so the next one is Buffalo Jaguars.
Wow. Yeah.
Duval. I feel bad for them. They were listen, we talked about it. You and I on the show talked about if you turn around and you gouge Buffalo's defense with running the ball, control. And they did, and what's his name? Etienne averaged 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
How are you not giving him the ball 25, 30 times? I don't understand.
Great point, Tom. You're absolutely right. That the Buffalo's weakness on defense, they protect the pass really good. It's that run defense that is it's vulnerable. And they had 14 rushes for over 140 yards, 130 yards, and they just got away with it. They went away.
I don't understand.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
And they had Buffalo on the ropes. And give credit to Jacksonville. They made it. They were the number 3 seed. The AFC South division winners, first time in a while. But man,
they didn't disappoint. They didn't. They should be. Happy with the season that they did have because they did have a lot of no names. Let's face it. I'm just glad that it seems like the program is going in the right direction. I'm glad because we live close. So we can go to games and it'll be fun. But I can tell you this. Let's talk about Superman. He is Superman.
Oh my God, man!
Did he take a beating? His knee gets caught underneath. His hand bounces off the helmet. When he hit his hand on the helmet, because quarterback when they finish thumb down. And that thumb, when he hit it on the butt, I go, broken. It's broken. Yeah. And even Tony Romo was saying, looking at the way he's handing the ball off, something's really wrong. And he was flexing. But, man, it doesn't stop that guy.
No, man.
It doesn't stop that guy.
That's my favorite quarterback. I love watching Josh Allen play. He's what's right about the NFL. That's everything you want in a player, in a person. And I'll tell you what, man, if the offensive line for Buffalo and Josh Allen, if that fourth down, 4th and issues when they did the
12, 15-yard tush push, or maybe even 20 yards.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. That offensive line got behind it. It looked like a sled, a blocking sled.
It doesn't hurt having a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback also doing the driving because everybody was like, well, he got carried. I'm like, are you guys for real? If anybody said that he got carried, you saw his legs pumping. He's a big man.
Yeah.
Granted, the offensive line, and they do need to get rid of that play. A little bit. You can't just grab 300-pound men behind you and drive you like a sled. But if your defense do the same thing, now you got a full-on scrum like rugby, which is not what we want.
The defense is kind of saying, well, how do we tackle him when people are pushing him from the back? But you know what? That's a whole other story. That play's been
crab walk. The old days, crab walk, man. Do the crab walk. That's how you stop that. Yeah, but and again, it goes that Kincaid had to be big. Hey, man, Cooks only had 45 yards rushing. We knew going in that defensive Jaguars defense is number 1 against the rush, and they showed it. They stopped Cooks.
Yeah,
the only guy that couldn't stop was Josh Allen.
Yeah, the NFL leading rusher, he like you said, he only had 45 yards. When you look on paper, you would say, that's everything you want. When you're playing Buffalo, you want to stop it, but you know what? It's almost near impossible to stop the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. And, man, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people out there whispering, hey, man, Josh Allen doesn't get it done this year if he doesn't beat Jacksonville. Because, a lot of people picked Jacksonville to win that game, and they could have easily won that game. And I'll tell you what, the winner of that game set themselves up very nicely to a path to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's a huge hurdle on the road. And it's just, it just goes to show that, the AFC, how competitive that AFC is. So we'll see what happens next week in Denver, though.
I tell you what, the other thing about Josh Allen that nobody realized, he threw to 9 different people.
Oh, wow.
9 different receivers in that game. And Gabe Davis, they lost towards ACL. I feel bad for Gabe Davis because, he's a veteran.
Yeah.
But, he spreads the ball out. There's no big name. Brandon Cooks, a great late addition to the roster, to the team, and he's stepped up. He's done. But they have Kincaid, they have Knox, they have the receivers, the running backs can catch the ball in the backfield. Josh Allen's Superman. He really is Superman. The defense, Bosa played well. Milano, I love Matt Milano. Love Matt Milano. And their back half is Jordan Poyer, old man, but getting it done. So I think Buffalo, remember we talked about it was the measuring stick this week as far as playoffs go. Who's going to go deep and what's going to happen later on? And I believe Buffalo has put their name in the hat to say that they could be in the Super Bowl. I think it's, and I think it's, I think anybody in the AFC.
Yeah.
I mean, going to the next game, we'll talk about Steelers in Houston.
Woo! Wow. Yeah. Woo! You know what? And we talked about this too. What did we say? We said the last week, we said Houston has the number one defense in the NFL, and man, it showed. It showed.
Everybody was talking about, Pittsburgh's offense was brutal. Their offense was brutal because the defense was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, like you were saying earlier, 4 guys, that front 4, they come at you and they come at you. I mean, on the ends. I mean, Will Anderson Jr. is an animal.
Oh my God.
He is an animal.
I remember him at Alabama, first round pick out of Alabama. I think he was like top 10 pick. Unbelievable. But you know what? Here's the thing. Against a defense like Houston, you can't drop the ball. Aaron Rodgers throws a pass to DK Metcalf.
Hits nothing but green in front of him.
I mean, opportunity. That was a touchdown. He had about 40 yards.
I know.
And he drops it. And you know what? When you look at the game, Pittsburgh held the Houston Texans to, it was 7-6 all the way through the third quarter. There just comes a point where your offense is like the defense is just saying, you know what, we're out here for nothing.
Right.
Like they're not even moving the ball.
And you were talking about it earlier. Pittsburgh's defense is sprinkled with a lot of talent. I mean, Joey Porter Jr., Hayward, T.J. Watt,
Jalen Ramsey,
Queen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Patrick Queen. Yep.
They're loaded, and they played well defensively for the end. What they scored 23 in the fourth quarter.
You're right. 23 unanswered.
7-6 through 3 quarters was the score, and I can tell you this: C.J. Stroud. If Houston's going to be the team to talk about in the Super Bowl, they've got to get more production on the offensive side of the ball because they ran the ball well with Chubb and Marks. They actually ran the ball well against a good defense.
They did.
And Stroud, I didn't realize his numbers were a little bit better than I thought they were because in the early part of that game, he looked disheveled. He looked, his feet weren't right. He was throwing off the wrong foot, doing fade backs. That's not his game. He had 3 balls where he fumbled 3 times.
Yeah, and you know what? I like what the Texans did. They seen that Pittsburgh was bringing that heat, and you're absolutely right. C.J. Stroud was a little rattled beginning of the game. He looked unsure, and what did they do? They went to the run. And they started gashing Pittsburgh. They started running it down their throats, and they pretty much took over the game in the fourth.
When you're running an RPO, that run pass option, you're reading different things, and I can tell you this, like you said, if you have a running game, it opens up play action, and now you have a couple seconds longer to throw the ball, to see the field, to do your progressions, and it's real. Houston will be a team that's going to be talked about. I mean, we go to that AFC. With Houston, the Bills. I mean, we'll talk about it on Friday's show for the
great matchup still. Yeah, you're right. You got Buffalo. You're going to end up going to Mile High Stadium and play the number 1 seed, the Broncos.
That's going to be some game.
And then you got the number 1 defense in the NFL, Houston Texans, going to
Green Bay.
New England. Yeah, so that's phenomenal. And then, I mean, like you said earlier, 3 of the 4 teams in the NFC are from one division. Talk about a stacked division.
Yeah.
The Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Rams finished 1, 2, 3 in their division, and
and all 3 of them can win it. I mean, it's not, we didn't even talk about the Patriots, going back to Patriots-Chargers. I felt bad because the Chargers just offensively, without those offensive linemen, 3 all-pro offensive linemen, 2 of the highest paid tackles in the NFL. You can't lose that and expect to be that successful. So I give Harbaugh credit because they did do it without those guys for half of the season, and they were still able to get to the playoffs. Justin Herbert, everybody calls him Mr. No Big Game. He's not a big game guy, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you can't lose your starting offensive tackles and your starting all-pro guard and still expect and not be able to run the ball and still expect this guy to be Superman. And and the years previous to that, he had no wide receivers. He had guys that were bagging groceries playing wide receiver in the 2 years ago.
Yeah, so you know what? You make a great point. The left tackle the right tackle gone, and their left guard gone, and all three of those guys are Pro Bowl caliber. And you know what? They pay those guys a high premium, so it's kind of hard to have a second and third string when you're paying top dollar for your first string.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it showed. They pinned their ears back. They were in. I think Justin Herbert was sacked 5 or 6 times.
Yep.
Pressured about 65, 70% of the time. So there's absolutely no time for him to throw. So.
And the Chargers have a good defense. There's no question. But I'm telling you right now, my thing is I'm not sold on the Patriots yet. And I know everybody thinks I'm crazy because what are they, 13 and 14 and something.
14-3, they ended up for the number 2 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, and Drake May, they talk about MVP, but they should have blown out the Chargers, and they didn't. They put up 23 points?
16.
Yeah.
16. They beat them 16-3. No, you have a great point because they're going to play. So they put up 16 points against the Chargers defense, and the Chargers are good. That's a top 5, top 10 defense in the NFL, but they got the Houston Texans defense coming out, which is number 1. You guys seen what Pittsburgh did to them last night. The Pittsburgh put 6 points up, didn't really move the ball much at all. It was kind of like stagnant through most of the game. Aaron Rodgers, I know there was a couple missed balls by DK Metcalf. Aaron Rodgers put it right on the money, but man, I mean, besides 1 or 2 drop balls, there was really nothing there for Rodgers, man. Yeah. Maybe a lot of check downs, a lot of dump downs. I mean, not really a whole lot, man. That defense is ferocious. It's fast, and what's very impressive to me about Houston, they don't blitz that much. Their blitz rate is one of the lowest in the NFL.
Don't have to. They
just pin their ears back with their foot. That's how good that personnel up front. Their front 7 is incredible, man. And I mean, their backfield is not that bad either. But you can see why that's the number 1 defense in the NFL. And what do they always say? Defense wins championships. Offense sells tickets. So, man, we'll see what Houston does, man. Houston's looking like that's a scary team, and we said that before the playoffs, man. We said the Houston Texans are going to be an extremely tough out for anyone, man.
And let me tell you something. Going back to the Patriots, they had Drake May led them in rushing with 60 yards rushing. So I mean, they had Drake May had 66 yards, Stevenson had 53, and Henderson had 27. So I mean, they put over 140 yards of rushing on the board, and that's and then Drake May did spread it out too. I mean, he and the kids that Stevens coming out of the backfield is a heck of a receiver as well. So and Drake May at 268. I mean, listen, he's MVP. Of course, it's between him and Stafford. I believe that, but I believe that it comes down to strength of schedule and body of work. And I think Stafford edges him out there. But New England's tough. Yeah. Vrabel brought he brought the Belichick culture back to New England, and I can tell you this: it's real. They're tough, but I just don't think that they're that team. I don't think so. But hey, listen, man, I know there's Patriot fans out there that want to egg me when they see me, but
you do bring up a good point. So. New England plays in the AFC East. Everyone knows that. And when you're looking, so they play, the division teams twice a year. So, 4 of those wins that they have are 2 of them are against the Jets, two of them are against the Dolphins.
Really?
So, I mean, that division is not that. And let's be honest, but as good as Buffalo is this year, this has not been Buffalo's best year.
No, right. And they split with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right, and you're right about the teams that New England's played right now.
Yeah, strength of schedule is 32nd. It's that simple. That's all. I'll keep on going to that until they go out and beat a Denver, or Buffalo in the playoffs. Then I'll be okay. I'll be on board, and I'll have egg on my face, and I'm okay with that. I just want to see good football, and I just don't think that they're the Super Bowl team. I just don't think that.
Yeah, well, they got it. We'll see, man. We'll see this weekend. The Texans, man. If they get by the Texans, man, it's going to make a huge matchup against the winner of the Broncos-Bills game. So
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll have our show on Friday. We'll be doing our picks, which, by the way, we are 8-1 in our picks for you gamblers out there. Tune into the show, and you'll win some money as well. And that's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Good job, man. We're doing pretty good.
I'll see you Friday.
All right, man.
All right.